If you were to ask me as a detective, which case has stayed with me the most, this would be it. I had just retired. Some might say I was still young, but I built a decent career and had the means to walk away. After my divorce, I needed a change of pace. I found a map, closed my eyes, and pointed. That's how I ended up in a forgotten Oregon town called Lowview. A place so small it barely made an impression on paper. Just what I was looking for. Lowview was stuck in time. Internet access was almost non-existent. There was one gas station, one supermarket that only carried generic brands, and a crumbling building that passed for both school and college. The townspeople were kind, but clearly underserved when it came to education and infrastructure. For a while, I regretted moving there. It was too quiet, too empty. Until one day, in the supermarket parking lot, I noticed a piece of graffiti scrawled on a wall in fading black paint. "Burn in hell, Toby Murphy." It piqued my curiosity. I asked the cashier who Toby was. Her eyes flicked toward the wall. She hesitated, then said,
"He was a wicked kid. Dangerous. We all warned the Thompsons not to let their son Arthur play with him, but they didn't listen. Arthur was only 6. Toby was 15, already a delinquent. They went into the forest one day. Kids like to mess around near an old abandoned car. That was the last time anyone saw Arthur alive."
She lowered her voice.
"Toby claimed they were playing hide and seek, and Arthur never came back. The sheriff didn't buy it. None of us did. Later, something was found in the lake. It wasn't easy to identify, but Arthur's parents recognized what they had to. Toby was charged, executed not long after."
My stomach dropped. Executed? But he was a minor.
"He deserved it,"
she said without flinching. I went home with a heavy heart. Something about her story didn't sit right. That night, I stayed up digging through a little digital trail I could find. What I uncovered was deeply troubling. Toby hadn't been given a lawyer. His parents were barred from seeing him. It was a trial in name only. And the tragedy didn't stop there. Arthur's parents, overwhelmed with grief, had taken their own lives. Toby's family left town, vanished into silence. Despite having left the force, my instincts hadn't dulled. Something felt wrong. The next morning, I visited the forest. It was eerily quiet. Dry leaves carpeted the ground, even though it was summer. I found the old car, half sunken, rusting into the soil. I looked around, walked to the nearby lake, then returned home. At the time, nothing seemed unusual. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling. A few days later, I returned. This time, something caught my eye. The ground around the car was oddly lush, green, almost thriving. It didn't make any sense. That section of the forest received little light or rain. I knelt down and began clearing away debris. The car wouldn't budge at first, but eventually I managed to pry up a portion of its frame, and what I found beneath that frame still haunts me to this day. There, hidden by roots and soil, were the remains of a child, barely more than bones. Tangled strands of blonde hair lay quietly among the earth. I staggered back. Years on the job don't prepare you for that. Not really. I contacted the authorities in the next town over. Lowview Sheriff wasn't capable of handling this. After a drawn-out jurisdictional mess, the body was examined. Dental records confirmed the truth. It was Arthur. But here's what changed everything. Arthur hadn't been harmed in the way the town believed. There was no violence, no cruelty. The cause of death was exposure, starvation, dehydration, cold. A slow, silent end. And then it all made sense. Toby hadn't lied. They were just kids, playing. Arthur had crawled under the car and gotten trapped. Nobody thought to check, and in their fear and grief, the town looked for someone to blame. And of course, they chose the boy who didn't fit in. They chose wrong. That was supposed to be my escape, my peaceful retirement. Instead, I uncovered a tragedy no one wanted to face. 2 young lives lost, one by accident, the other by injustice. This wasn't just the saddest case I'd ever come across. It was the most human,